Hey, you there. Thank you for watching and welcome to Forge Alliance Forever. Today I have a 6v6 ladder match on the Mad Sea 20 by 20 map. Let's get on to the game by introducing our players. I'm going to slow it down just a little bit so we can make sure we introduce everybody before any crazy action happens. In the northeast corner for Team 1, we have you going Seraphim first land in dark blue. It was south. We have TCA Williams as a UEF in purple going first land. At the tip of the peninsula, we have Surrey as a Cybran going first land as well in gray. To his north, we have Darth Sand, a Star Wars fan, I would assume, as a Seraphim going first land as teal. To his north, we have Solo Savi in Aeon, as an Aeon going first air in beige, tan, weird green color. And last but not least for Team 1, we have Gamer9 Triple X going Cybran in orange and starting first land. Introducing players on Team 2, we have his mirror on the north side of Team 1, Zone01 as a Seraphim going first land in green. We have to his south, Waffle in chest as a Cybran going first land in blue. To the east of him, we have, he's already walking off, see what I mean? Drunken Warden as a UEF going first air in crimson. We have the other red player on Team 2, Raw Legit, going first land in red as an Aeon. We have another Aeon to the west, Colonel Quabi, going first air in white. And last but not least for the game, we have Furio in the back, typical air slot, going first land as a UEF in, I'd say, rust would be the description of that color. Again, like I said, this is a 20 by 20 map, so lots of room for our players to expand and build all sorts of things. We do have some civilian units on the center hillock island thingamajig. So there is some mass as well as some structures to either capture or most likely destroy. The mass for this game for reclaim, there's a lot on this beach, as you can see over here. Got some naval wrecks as 2 factories as well. Bunch of rocks, so Middle Island is definitely worth going after, as well as in the southeastern section, another factory turned sideways, which is actually pretty cool to see. We have civilian Titans as the players are letting us know. These guys will attack on sight from what I remember. I don't remember if they're capturable. I don't think so. Answers in the comments if they are capturable. I don't think so. But, you know, adding a little flair. They are guarding these mass extractors on the hillocks over here on the cliffside, as well as a decent amount of mass. And again, we have mass being guarded over here. 4 mass extractors very close together. Definitely a target for central players to go after. Factories going down for both players in the middle island. It kind of looks like a vertebrae from like an insect or kind of like a jellyfish. You know, kind of have that kind of like circle shape at the top. Or if you've seen Man of Steel, it reminds me of the ship that they land on Earth and like they pump the energy beam through the planet. It kind of looks like that from the side. Anyway, let's see what our players are up to in the north. We have Gamer9 Triple X moving to the middle section, going after reclaim as well as obviously the 4-8 mass expansion in the north. We have the Calm of Surrey going south to this island peninsula thingamajig, going for this reclaim as well as those mass extractors. We do have a drop from the Aeon player of Raw Legit going after this three mass extractor expansion and putting down land factories to secure that position. We have a string of engineers coming out from the blue player of Waffles going after that reclaim again, but we also have the Crimson player, Drunken Warden, going after reclaim as well as getting land factories out to expedite that reclaim. His opponent, Darth Sand, is manually going after the reclaim himself and also building a land factory to expedite that process. There is a decent amount of water on this map, so just like the last match that I cast, naval game is going to be very important. These two channels should be wide enough to allow, oh, sorry about that, allow vessels to pass through. There are some maps where the channels are too thin, but this looks big enough. It can single file, which isn't ideal for combat, but if either player is able to hold on the other side, it provides a good attack because your enemy is coming in single file. We have some anti-air units out from Darth Sand taking care of these bombers and interceptors, making sure no early aggression is going to hamper his efforts to secure the main island in the middle. We do have a couple side islands with a couple mass points. Not really a whole lot going on over there. But, I mean, there's 2 mass points. Could make a difference. Usually doesn't, but it could. I feel like Raw Legit has the better area to defend against. He does have 2 lanes to defend against. But, as well as that, he does have more mass and has more factories down as well. So I bet that he's going to secure it in the long term, but in the short term, we might see Fury move and try to maybe, if not take over that position in the interim. At least the majority of that section of the map. But we do have another drop out from the white player of Colonel Kwabe going after this mass extractor spot, as well as dropping engineers to secure that. So good to see him sneaking in that drop in from behind enemy lines. I would not be surprised to see units devoted to stopping that expansion. Gun damage and range going down for the Crimson player of Drunk Warden, as well as a T2 upgrade going down for Gamer 9 XXX. It does look like they can be capturable, so I answered my own question at the beginning, but they take forever. So, I mean, it says it at 100%. It is not at 100%. It's maybe like at 10. So, just to be aware of that. Obviously, I think adding more units does not increase the capture time, from what I remember, so not really the beneficial to add more engineers. Here's an interesting move that you can do as a ACU. If it's against the T1 factory and you are not upgraded, reclaiming the factory is pretty much the same speed as attacking, and the added benefit of once you reclaim it all, once you reduce the hit points down to 0, you automatically start the reclaim process. You don't have to worry about adding another command to that. But you can attack, obviously, and move when you're doing it. So it is a little risky, but when there's no units on the field, it's actually a pretty good move, to be fair. We do have a run-by and attack from behind from Drunken Warden, taking out units as well as going after these factories. Was able to take out the factories and engineers in the back line. It's a good move from him. Would not see this position attacked pretty early on. This T1 PD will bat any engineer off, send in a couple T1 artillery or even the comm to just eradicate that position. Looks like Darth Sand has lost all of his factories. I think one more shot. Nah, that's gonna do it. Lost all his factories on the main island. It is a tough break, but he may be able to recover, but all of this pressure may be too much for him. He is sending out units from his main base to help support, so not a total loss there. We do have an incursion from the Rust player going after this side, middle, thin island. We will see who ends up taking the island for themselves. We do have a drop out from Furry as well. So we will... Surrey. I keep saying Furry. Surrey. Excuse me. I apologize. So we'll see who ends up taking it first. They started the land factory first, and they have artillery being built. So we'll see who ends up winning. I guess there's another factory, so 2 factories. Do have artillery back here launching attacks against it. And unfortunately, due to the way that the Cyberians build and move out initially, that T1 PD is just in range to take out anything that that factory builds. That's a very bad placement on Surrey's part. He is getting ousted from the bottom section of the map. We had an upgrade go down for RAR, as well as going for another upgrade, the gun and range upgrade, and walking head into that is not going to be a good idea. Check back on the north. We do have the comms of Gamer and Sohn going at it. Gamer having the worst time of it, but he does a lot of forces and is able to surround the comm of Sohn, so we'll see how that goes. But with only having 3,000 hit points in the red, Sohn could probably just walk him down and eradicate him, especially with those overcharges every second. But we'll see. Maybe he's making a play for the water, I would assume. Ooh, that's a miss. That's going to cost him. This might even be a trade. If he gets under sub 2,500, it's going to be a trade. Using units to body block. Good move there. Sub 1,000. Sub 800. Sub 7. 4, 3. Missed a shot. Boom! It is a trade! So the players of Gamer and Sohn going down, making this game an even 5v5. The factories out on the beachhead for Team 2 have almost been destroyed by the combined forces of Team 1, as well as Darthstan has been able to re-establish his factories in the northern section of that island. However, the comm of Drunk Warden has established himself in the corner over here with this Titan, which maybe he'll reclaim, but getting a stealth field up, as well as a shield generator and a bunch of defenses, with some tanks to defend his comm against enemy incursion. Looks like the Rust player Furio was able to take over the entire upper island in the middle, so that is a good move on his front, getting all that nice mass generated. Speaking of which, we'll check on the mass right now, since it's not a whole lot going on. Upgrade going down for Darthstan in the middle, by the way. 339 to 339, pretty much a very even game for both teams. The mass differentials is about 4K, 4,000, but it's not gonna matter that much because that's not a whole lot, to be honest. We are seeing more production going down for Team 1, so that mass differential is going to pretty much come to a head and most likely overtake if no numbers change. But it keeps flipping back and forth, so that must be reclaim related. But again, eco game pretty well even as of right now. Let's see, we got anything else spicy going on? No. We have both the high-ranking players on both teams have taken the old bases of their adversaries and converted them to their will. They're getting all that juicy mass, the 200 and 174 respectively. Double digits for both players, though, and they are the highest rated players, so that would make sense. Just to note, this is a really wide range game. We have 500 all the way to 2100, and the game is 93%. Though they did the balancing as best they could, of course. With such discrepancies, the fact that it's an even number plus it's 93%, or it's the same number plus it's 93%, excuse me. Very good balancing on the ladder's point of view. T2 Navy has been achieved for the Cybern player of Waffles, sitting there ecoing his heart up while also getting up some technology in the form of T2 subs. Good choice here because most of the units for T1 cannot attack back except the T1 subs. And submarine killers kind of, you know, outperform the T1 subs, so very good move on that front. We do have some destroyers for Team 1 out in the north. We have 2 people that have made it to T2 in Navy, as well as producing units as well. It's got in some cruisers, got some destroyers. The Salems, we'll see if their legs are used in this match. The forces of Surrey have been completely ousted, and the air forces are now moving against his main base, his main peninsula. Would just like to see his comm kind of move forward, which has taken lots of hits, to be fair. But this is only T1. He could easily bat this away. Air support in the form of T3 achieved for both players. Interestingly, it was achieved for the white player of Colonel. I don't see that of Russ, maybe Furio. He's probably focusing on the land game over here a little bit. But Ras going down for Yi. Yeah, I think it's U. But let's see. The comm of Drunken is being surrounded by the comm of Dark Sand and his other forces. We do have... Is that a strat bomber? Well, no, I think that was... What was that? It's anti-air, but what was that? I don't know what that was. Huh. Weird. Anyway, he's being hemmed in the corner. Not a good place to be. Artillery getting into the back, taking out the shield. That's a good move. We got some hover tanks. Looks like Drunken Warning literally boxed himself into a corner. Oh, it was probably a missile. Probably what that was. But he should have backed up the other way, but he's surrounded. He's going to die pretty soon, unfortunately, for Team 2. But he did put himself there, and that's kind of his own fault. Thinking he'd be protected, but didn't work out that way. And now the game is now a 4v5. 5 players for Team 1, 4 players for Team 2. We do have some strat bombers on the way from Colonel, maybe going after the comm to make this a 4v4 match, as well as some torpedo bombers to take out these Salem destroyers. Let's see. The strat bomber goes in, he goes underneath the shield, impacts on the shield, but does some splash damage, and this ASFs come in and wreck shop. So unfortunately for Team 2, that was not a kill as of right now. Not a whole lot of progress going up in the northwest section. The Team 1 does own this little, like, I don't even know what to call this. Island, isthmus, water, castle, thingamajig. But the 4 mass extractors in the mid have not been taken by either player. So, it's kind of a wash. Naval production in full swing for both players. We have multiple teammates getting into the naval game. 1, 2, 3. 3 players on Team 2. And 1, 2, 3, 4 players on Team 1. So almost everybody, which besides the air player, which obviously makes sense. And then everybody on Team 2 except for the secondary air player. You would think this one would be the primary air player, but I mean, maybe they decided to go double air, which could be beneficial late game, and maybe he's ecoing up more. I mean, he is going for airfield, so it does make sense that that player would do that eventually. We have torping it, I guess, pointing out, taking out these subs in the middle. Cruisers coming down, taking out the expansion for Furrio. Furro. I think it's Furro. And I have a hard time pronouncing names sometimes, so I do apologize if I pronounce a name incorrectly, or if you're one of the players watching this cast and I say your name incorrectly, I also apologize. Comment down below if you can kind of help me figure out exactly how to say your name. That'd be great, because if I cast you in the future, I do want to make sure that your name is said correctly. Kind of slowing down a little bit, except for this attack on this main expansion. The main island has pretty much been conquered by Team 1 from Dark Sand's forces. Not from, but for the forces of Dark Sand. We do have this naval engagement in this little channel over here. It's a nice view of that. Got some shots hitting the side of the hill over there, as well as some artillery coming down to take out the rest of those mass extractors. Bombing run, very unsuccessful, unfortunately. Getting up some shields, getting up some stealth fields, making sure no one can see their little sneakiness going on. I am surprised to see that no Team 1 forces are just coming here to try to stop this aggression over here. This little, not being bothered, just hanging out, enjoying the view. Engineer must have a, well, move away a little bit. Yeah, I can't get a good angle, but nice little view of the little peninsula, which is, there's probably more ground over there, we just can't see it. Anyway, back to the action over here. Sorry for my distractions. We got some T2 stopping the T1 forces of Burio. We do have the main naval force for Team 1 from RAR holding off the forces in this channel. I'm interested to see why they don't go around. They're not getting a good attack line, sight lines on the enemy navy. T2 mass producing destroyers moving in to halt any sort of aggression in the northern section of the water. But we have some T1 artillery going after the factories. That was a good move, going all the way around. And as well as when you go all the way around and pulling those naval forces up, you're actually able to send forces around the other way and start taking out these factories as well. A good move on that front. We do have T3 Navy being achieved for TCA Williams, and he is starting, I think that's the battle cruiser. Definitely smaller, so yeah, definitely battle cruiser. And then obviously building either cruisers or destroyers. I think those are cruisers because they have like the intel and the like slot for the missile or whatever. So good to see our players repping up tech nice and fast. 20 minutes, not that bad. Not that bad. If you've been enjoying the cast so far, please like and comment down below about who you think is going to win, as well as who do you think is going to be the star player of the game. I think I'm going to start that process of like the MVP of the game, pretty much the person who won it for their team, or somebody who just held out against all odds for an exorbitant amount of time. Kind of that like survival based gameplay of I have a unstoppable force and I have to last as long as possible. Less barracudas, some mermaids, or sonar. I do like this feature that they've added where you can pretty much ping a location with like pretty much ping but with an image, and make a little text comment like, look, instead of saying hey over here where you're building your navy and like talking more, you can just point to and be like, do this or do that or move your units or whatever. We do have T3 Navy being achieved for Team 2 as well, in the form of Seraphim technology, going for, I think those are the, what are the, I think those are the battleships that have nukes. I think that's the only thing that I think it can be. Anyway, a lot of guns on that thing. We have a run-by attempt from Team 1 that stopped halfway through and went, that's probably not a good idea. T3 on the way for Furio as well. ASF production in full swing. How many ASFs we got? We got a little over 100. And for Team 2, we got 30 for Colonel, and we got 59 for Furio. So pretty much about the same, except one player is under control of all of them, which could be a good thing or which could be a bad thing, depending on the way they are used. I like this little walk with engineers. You technically can go, I mean, almost all the way around to here. There is a little bit of mass over here, which is what they're doing. I didn't even notice you could do that. And they're doing the same thing this way. Huh. That's an interesting part of the map that probably not a lot of people notice. The 1500 noticed. Good on him. And again, those legs on those Salem destroyers are definitely valuable for land incursions. Are able to just they're pretty much mobile T2 artillery is pretty much But they are. We have some bombers taking care of these other engineers. It's just so funny to see them just walk like ants along the edge of the map. And we have counter Salem pushes in the middle. Good to see some hover tanks being used to kind of confuse and make it harder to be targeted when you kind of get underneath the legs. But with this many Salems, it really doesn't matter. We'd like to see some cruisers in the mix, having a bunch of ASF nearby as well as T2 torpedo bombers does make it a lot harder to keep your Navy alive and healthy. These T1 units chasing down these destroyers. I mean, not the worst thing they could do, but just sending them all in like this with not a lot of support isn't the best thing to do. But we do have T2 in tow. These T1 forces are just going to get wiped out. But I do love the fact that now they're just walking this way. Like, I find that so funny. Instead of, you know, going around, which you could do, or even going around this way, or this way. Like, nah, I'm just going to take the shortcut and go on land. It's slower, but I'll go that way. Tactical nuke on the way for Williams. So we're going to see that backpack nuke in place. That Billy nuke, as it is called colloquially in the game. Looks like we have another battle cruiser online, or becoming online. And his forces are in the channel with that battle cruiser in tow. Look at those massive guns just taking a hit. Shielded by the shield boats of the UEF. Probably the most, if not one of the most useful units in the game. Being able to shield your units on the Navy is a very good use of mass as well as energy, and being able to, you know, just tank these shots from enemy fire. We do have a battleship online for RAR, which is not good for Team 1 because that battlecruiser, yes, can deal with T1 and T2 units pretty well, but against T3 is it's going to have a hard time. Especially with this small channel. Doesn't make it a lot of room to dodge. And he's going to stand his ground? I don't think so. I wouldn't. I'd just keep going. But hopefully the forces out from Surrey can come and reinforce. They are definitely out of position for that kind of assistance. But they did clear out most of the enemy forces down in the southeast section. T2 production in full swing. Bunch of Salems. Counter intel. Again, like to see some more cruisers in that mix. Counter intel is nice. They provide kind of like a decoy sonar signature. Again, no cruisers. Kind of need those cruisers against those torpedo bombers, especially for wanting to keep your battleships online. And again, these can make nukes. Very nice to just be able to. Yeah, I have battleship, and it can make a nuke. So what? We do have a push in the north. We do have a decent amount of defenses for Team 2 as well, so probably this base won't last very long, but it'll last long enough to distract the enemy. We do have T3 artillery as well as a T3 shield generator, mobile shield generator at that, so at least they'll be able to help against the incoming pressure. Salems now being used again for the third time with their legs moving in to take out the land forces of the air/land player now of U. You got anything spicy in the background? No. RASCOMs building up the air grid. We do have a strategic missile defense, so prepping for a possible nuke as well as prepping a nuke. That is about half completed, so let's see if that ends up being useful or not. But with high rated players, we should be able to see some anti-nuke already under construction. Do we see any? We have, that's T2. Some more power generators. Don't see anything. There is a T3 over here, and it's more than half done, so they'll be protected there, as well as we have another one here. It's pretty much the air player with one loaded, so the air player is pretty well defended. Not so much in the middle, though, unfortunately, for the likes of Williams. But we'll see where that nuke ends up being targeted. in the future. Air fight looks like it went down and didn't really either it went down or nothing really happened, but doesn't look like anything's really changed in the air game. You definitely still has the advantage, but these two players on Team 2 are definitely rivaling the amount of ASF to their disposal. We do have a bunch of ships kind of getting stuck on this island over here in these channels, but they're moving out to take out the rest of the Cybran forces in the other channel. See? Look! Cruisers! Very good at taking out air. Hey, Team 2, come on, get on that. It's driving me crazy over here. You gotta have anti-air, especially with boats, because torpedo bomber is very effective. These Salems are still walking north, taking out everything in sight, as well as these Otham siege tanks just mowing down anything and everything in their path. Starting to see a kind of a 60-40 split with the land game in terms of map control. There is a spider. No idea what that ping was about. Yeah, I don't... Maybe he's saying build one with the mass that's here? I mean, yeah, you could probably build a spider with the mass here, but, I mean, I don't know why you'd build it that far forward. It's kind of a weird comment to make. Anyway, it looks like air forces from you took out the air forces of Furio, and the forces of Colonel are pretty much going to wade into their deaths. Oh, wade. That'd be water. Fly into their deaths would be the way to put it. Apparently, Team 2's talking to themselves, talking about SMD. That is the real question. No. So, no SMD in the front line, I guess, which is what they're working on right now. There's one in the back line protecting his base, but again, just like maybe most of you do know, but maybe there's some of you that don't. The way nukes work is if a nuke flies into the area that an SMD is protecting, it is taken out. In other games, it's if the nuke is going to land in that spot, then the SMD fires. So you could actually have, that's why players have them positioned further outwards, so that way they can cover more distance and angles of attack. Just a note for players who may have a question about how SMDs work. We do have the Siege of Suri's base. He has a combination of Seraphim and Cybran tech, but that's not going to save him. All of these hives are just going the way of the dodo. No longer existing, no longer being of use. Just look at all those hives just taking hit after hit after hit. And you could probably make these hives assist the shield and prevent incoming fire, but maybe too little too late. We do have T2 artillery being spammed out to help dissuade the naval forces, but all they have to do is just primary that, and it's gone. And we do have some land forces over here from his partner up in the north, just hanging out. Feel like these subs are kind of wasted. Yeah, there aren't any destroyers to really hit back, but there's enough enough torpedoes coming at them where it doesn't really... Oh, there is a couple destroyers. But these destroyers should be able to take out the rest of them. We have some cruisers, battle cruisers out from Williams, and missiles coming in from those cruisers, helping to take out these battleships. These battleships will probably make it out, or at least one of them will for sure. Mass torpedo spam going down in the northern pond. Team 2 has already lost the battleship, and they're going to lose the second one most likely. Again, cruisers. We do have a nuke launch. We have a nuke launch from the south, from the same player who's lost the air game, at least in terms of his forces. Going straight on a collision course with probably... I mean, if I was him, I would target this. And we're back. Thank you. The game completely froze, and I could still interact with the game, but I couldn't, like, play it. I couldn't do anything, so I just had to restart and get back to this point. Anyway, nuke inbound for this base. They have a strategic missile defense, but it is not loaded, unfortunately, and that nuke is going to land. And boom! Takes out all the core mass. Takes out some assisting build power on these factories. But the calm is still alive. Power still alive. So it's not a total loss. And they get right back on to building the mass extractors. So again, not a total loss for Williams and for Darth Sand, but it definitely is a big setback. Still, these cruisers have been built now, thank goodness. I don't know, we're in 32 minutes. Finally, they're on the field up here in the north, starting to be moved forward against the overwhelming air presence of Team 1. And we're going to see all of these torpedo bombers just take a hit. They'll get a pass in, but all of these cruisers coming in will definitely help mitigate all of that damage going forward. Has some shield units here protecting the Salems. A good move there, absorbing some of the hits from those torpedoes, but unfortunately there is enough damage to take some of those shields out. Okay. Apparently there is a shortcut to like reload the game if it ever does that. Apparently I found it, so I didn't have to restart again. Anyway, we have massive amounts of damage going onto this Galaxy class battleship from the northern team. Unfortunately, there are a lot of them. So even if one goes down, all this incoming plasma and death from the sea will definitely overwhelm the forces here in the middle for Team 2. However, more battleships are coming online for them as well. So it's a matter of how long can we hold out. There isn't any real support fleet for Team 1, except maybe some frigates up here, another battleship and another destroyer. So, you know, there aren't shield boats, there aren't cruisers, there aren't pretty much anti-counter, and not anti-counterintelligence, but counterintelligence boats to help obscure some of the shots. Just, again, lots of damage, but not a lot of supporting, and you can see due to that, they are retreating. We have an experimental unit built for Furio in the back. It is a Novak center. Those satellites are deploying, ready for action against their enemies. We got the Navy of RAR making it through that channel and saying, hey, we're here and we're not staying and we're gonna keep launching plasma at you. Sorry, bud. On the other team. Darth Sand starting to rebuild. Definitely a very slow process. He doesn't have a whole lot of mass to his name. And he's going straight for T3, so those will take a while, unfortunately. We have another nuke launch detected here out from Ace, which is the name of the unit, of course. But it is a strategic missile sub, and it is going for the island here. Good move. Decent amount of mass. T2 emplacements. Nice juicy target, and it's not defended by a SMD, so that is going up in smoke. Boom. Definitely is not the prettiest nuke. Still think the prettiest nuke are the Seraphim ones. But in my opinion, everyone is entitled to their own. T1 artillery spam starting to be moving against this Navy, distracting the units, allowing for more Navy to be pushed forward, getting closer, take out these battleships. Moore's, I guess, Hugh heard me and is making more support fleet in terms of frigate spam, which isn't the worst thing on the planet. I'd like to see some subs, maybe some cruisers as well to help just mitigate some damage. I mean, you do have air control, so it's not the end of the world that you don't have cruisers, but moving your strategic missile sub to the front is not a good idea, sir. And the battleship taking some hits from 8 battleships over here. Doesn't feel good over there. Nope. Got some big ouchies over there. I guess these are sub hunters. They're not nuke subs. So I guess that's not the end of the world, but still shouldn't send them in forward. Just let some other units take the hits while you deal most of the damage from those. They are really good units. They just are super weak, so gotta watch it for that. naval production going down on the other side of the channels for Team 2, making sure they can resupply very quickly. And these Omen class are having a very, very tough argument with this cliffside, saying, "Hey, why are you here?" And the cliffside's like, "Hey, I want to be here. No, I'm not moving." I'm like, okay, fine. But we'll still shoot you though. Ground units moving in as well from the southeast section. We got another experimental, most likely another satellite. That is satellite number 2. Rascoms on a star lifter moving to the front, going after that sweet, juicy reclaim in the middle, as well as building naval factories to enhance that reclaim capability as well, or just resupplying the front with new ships. One of the two. We got a lot of. Ooh, that's a lot. Ooh, that's a lot of reclaim. Ooh, look at that reclaim. 23,000 over there. So, let me get that reclaim mod that adds it up in the total in the corner. Got a Tsar. Looks like that was under construction a while back and fell into the water and died. So, that was definitely a loss from Team 1's perspective. Out from the lowest ranked player in the game, actually. So good on him getting up a experimental as well as going for artillery. Honestly, not a good spot. I mean, you could have T2 cruisers coming in over here, battleships. Literally, you know, you could have Salem's coming in. Like, this is not a good spot to put it. And Surrey has been defeated. Did he control K? Control K? Where is he? I don't... Oh, over here. It looks like he went for a snipe. And it did not work, apparently. Did take out an SMD, which is very useful, but killed Eco for 2 bases. I guess he did teleport here and here, so his death was not in vain, but I don't know if that was really worth it. Losing APM and losing a decently high-ranked player, second highest ranked player on your team, not really a perfect trade, I'd say. Always the rats that make sats. They're not rats. Like, it's not your fault that you don't have a counter to that, especially you're super exposed in the back with barely any shields. I mean, you're covering mass fabricators farms as well as doing it all over here. So I mean, it's not his fault that you don't have anything protecting your air grid. I mean, he has some shielding over something. Pretty much more than you can say for you. Anyway, just salt going down in the comments or in the chat over here. I can't click when he left it glitched. I guess Waffles did something. Or somebody did something. I don't know. Weird. Anyway, air. Yeah, I guess they need some air taking out all these torpedoes. These battleships just getting wrecked. There is a battleship that got online that will provide a nice healthy distraction for the forces of Team 2 down here in the mid-ish section. But we do have a Billy nuke, it looks like. I don't know where it's from, but it's going to land. I didn't hear the nuke go off, and it's not a land-based nuke. So it's probably... Billy nuke, but I don't see the missile, so that's kind of weird. I saw the symbol. Maybe I got shot down. Maybe I got shot down by these as some tactical missiles on board some of these naval units. Maybe starting to eradicate the rest of Darth Sands' base. Tried to recover, but was just too late. Getting up some Ravagers up online. I feel like you could go for T2PD. It would be faster and more effective in terms of mass, because it's just going to get eviscerated. Look at that. I mean, you got 1 done, 2 done, and then production's gonna stop. And then you're gonna run away, you're gonna get primaried, and you're gonna lose those Rascoms. Like, watch, you got... One's almost dead. Sub 4,000. Sub 3,000. We got one under sub 3,000 as well. 2 sub 2,000. That one's dead. Does some AoE damage. More shots coming in. Does more damage to the next one. Takes out 2 of them. Sub. How many subs? Sub 6,000. So I mean, you lost 3 Rascoms, or basically nothing. so not really worth it there. We do have that artillery installation online. Good to see he is ringing it with power generators as well as has some PD and getting shields up. Good to see that. Meta very strongly represented here. We have more satellites and more satellites and more satellites being built. We do have a nuke in the clip, and it looks like it's almost about 2/3 on the way to a second one. But we will see what happens with that. Restorers in over the forces of Team 2 supporting against these air units. Again, couples restorers aren't going to make a huge difference. You'll get a huge ball of 40, 50, 60, and they're going to make a huge difference. They can attack air units as well as ground units, so very versatile unit. The forces of Team 2 are being pushed back in the northern section of the water by a huge battleship spam, but Team 2 also has battleships, so they're kind of locked in a stalemate over here. Lots of reclaim, lots of aircraft and boats in the water all taken out. I mean, you're talking about a lot of reclaim, just an exorbitant amount. You got 17,000, let's see, 50,000 reclaim, 33,000. You got enough reclaim to make almost any experimental you want, except for the really high-priced ones, like the Paragon, or the Othona Os, or the Maver, or any of those game enders, pretty much. Ras on the way for Colonel in the pond down here in the south, making sure he gets nice and ripped up with some eco. Looks like he's getting hit from that emissary from his opponent, but don't see any more shots. Was it taken out? Looks like it was taken out. Oh, it's gonna be taken out. Again, way too far forward. Naval ships were able to bombard it. Looks like someone is a little salty about their air player. So, I mean, it's a fight. Not to like bag on low-ranked players, but I mean, when you're at 2100, you have multiple bases attacking on multiple fronts. I mean, subcom brain does kind of start to kick in, and it does start to weigh on you. And this guy only had, a small section with not a whole lot going on. He's been kicked out of the naval game and kicked out of the artillery game. So kind of not the best place to put it. That nuke did go off, taking out some of these battleships. Looks like it took out 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. So decent hole in the naval forces of Team 1, which will help with the momentum moving forward. But if the pressure keeps going, it won't amount to too much. But the issue over here for Team 1 is that they've pretty much knocked out everything for their other opponents. So the only one in the naval game is the air player, and because of that, he's going to be distracted and trying to do multiple things at the same time, reducing his APM availability. Mass Team 1 anti-air spam. Another nuke out from a missile sub. The last naval unit for Williams, and it's going for, looks like it's going for the reclaim efforts of Team 2. I mean, it's not that bad of a move. Reducing the reclaim reduces the amount of mass they're getting. Another experimental online. It's the 4th satellite starting to get a critical mass over there. It's going to get some RASCOMs. Some of the RASCOMs, at least. It's further down in the water, so it was able to... The water was able to tank some of the hits. But, not a huge issue for them. So... yeah, that nuke could have been used a little better, but I mean, there's not a whole lot that it could have been used on. It could have taken out this production base. I don't see there is an SMB, so you could have skirted the edge a little bit, but I don't. With a lot going on, it's kind of hard to like devote some time to do that. Looks like we have another nuke out from Team 2. And it looks like it is on a collision course with obviously something. We'll just see what it's on. Looks like it's going for maybe the naval production over here. We do have a T3 naval factory online here. We have the HQ back here. We got another naval factory, like a bunch of naval factories online back here. T3 as well. So mass battleship spam, or battle cruiser spam, or aircraft spam, but you already have air game, so it doesn't really matter. It doesn't look like it's going to hit the forward manufacturing yards. It's going to hit the back line. Let's see, does it go straight on? There's some easy mass you can absorb, but taking out some bricks, took out a battleship right off the line, took out some mass back there, so a very good hit there, and took out the HQ. So whatever's being produced will finish producing, and that's it. You're gonna have to rebuild that HQ. But they are making some headway pushing in. It's not the best bet stringing these in single file because it's really easy to take them out. You want to group them up and just use them pretty much as bullet sponges for these frigates. Cruiser spam on the way for RAR. They don't have a whole lot of missiles on the. They don't have hardly any missiles on these cruisers. They do, however, have access to the T3 missile boats, missile ships, and these things, they pack a punch. And just look at all those missiles. Another Bidley nuke out from Williams, I presume, taking out some build capacity as well as I think some of the mass that was just kind of hanging out over here. A line of torpedo launchers for some reason. I don't know what that was about. Answers down in the comments what that was about in the corner if you go back and watch the replay. Starting to make some headway with some T1 artillery spam, the bullet sponge, as well as some shield boats and battleships. Still a large force to contend with, so it's not going to be an easy climb over there, but definitely it's still going. It's still going. That's what that took out, was probably some of the line. Like, yeah, we're just going to build T1 anti-air because it's super cheap and we can do it very quickly. Like, the engineers don't have enough time to move to build the next one. You didn't even do two lines at the same time. Anyway, just think that's funny. Anyway. Going after the resourcing options for Solo. We have another nuke launch out from the Team 2, except it's from this Liberator here, over here, from Waffles. He's been kind of not doing a whole lot. I mean, he's been focusing on the naval game, but he is ecoing up in the back and is going for something. Nukes heavily featured in this cast today, apparently. Capital ship spam, yeah, that's, I mentioned that earlier. They can't do anything if they don't have their T3 HQ online, to be fair. So, but all these frigates hanging out, just going after the infrastructure. Yeah, it's not looking good. Boom. Taking out a bunch of build power. Build 1,000 torps Navy existing menace. I mean, he's shielding something. What is he shielding? Oh! That's what he's doing. This is the experimental nuke launcher from the Seraphim. Very effective. Can load nukes very quickly. And they take 2 SMDs to take out. So, if that gets online, that's very not good. Dart Stand going down to something. Maybe he just controlled Cade. Can't tell. Oh, he went down to the satellites. Satellites have gone over the main base of you. Do they actually click on the wrong play there? Do they know what is up with that? No. They didn't really make a Soul control Ks as well. So this turns from a 4v4 to a 4v2 in favor of Team 2. And looks like in chat they're talking about the Team 2 is talking to Team 1's solo player that he's complaining, our air not 2100, I leave. They mentioned the YOLO. And Team 2 is like, look, he's the only reason why this game went for 50 minutes. And they're like all agreeing, yep, the long march begins. Oh, look at that! There's a Galactic Colossus and on a 20x20 map. And that's going to take a while. At 50 minutes, yeah, that's a long walk. We'll see if that gets anywhere. check back over here. It's not a whole lot going on over there in terms of endgame stuff. We got to run by over here. And these, ooh, that's not a good place to park your ASFs. You gotta move those. It's free damage on those ASFs. Oh, bunch of mass extractors go down. Building some PD, and a huge section of that air grid is now down from these satellites. Satellites in large numbers, OP. Experimental nuke launcher is at 33%. Now they're flying again. But it looks like all of that namey spam infrastructure is pretty much all taken out. One lonely nuke sub just hanging out in the back. Building engineers, for some reason. I guess he never went back into producing. Where are they going? They're all congregating over here for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, staging facilities, that's nice, but they're just going to get taken out. At least they're complementing the... what are they talking about? You did 1%? Are you S600? They might be talking about Solo. Or maybe Waffles. I don't know. Anyway. It's always good to reference chat once in a while. Yeah, it's real ranking. It's kind of hard to get an exact rank sometimes. And sometimes there's balance, sometimes there's not. That's what they're talking about in chat. But the balancer does do its best to figure out the exact placement of each of the players in the match, though. Again, it's not an exact science, so kind of just it is a give and take. Almost 50% completed for that Yolana Os, for that YOLO, and then it stopped. Then it went on again. That was weird. We got any spicy plays back here? Another satellite. We have 7 satellites back here. Just space lasers to the max over here. Look at that. Look at those space lasers. Oh, looks like Q control Ks. He's like, yeah, it's kind of nearing the end of the battle. I'm kind of on the back foot. There's really not a whole lot he could do. He could have just kept building that, but I don't know, maybe he thought the writing was on the wall. And then he control K's all of his ASF into the explosion. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of petty at that point. Again, my last cast featured a player who quit early just because they were losing. I mean, even though the team did lose, it's still like, come on, like, at least when like most of your base is gone, maybe leave, but I don't know. I feel like quitting early or too early is obviously also bad. We have some nukes going off. That nuke sub gets a nuke off before it dies. Look at that. And it's going... Oh, just nuke yourself. That'd be really funny. Just nuke... Oh, that would have been funny. Just go up and then back down. That would have been really funny. But it's going for... something. ASF's literally just hanging out in the base. Just being like, nah, I don't care. It looks like it's going for the frigate spam out from Team 2. Takes out a decent amount of units there. We do have an artillery that's been under construction, I guess, for a while. It is a rapid fire artillery installation. That thing shreds shields. As well as the Tempest. That's probably not going to finish before the match is end. Are the ASF control K? And they rain from the skies? What happened? Did he control K those? Like, what was that about? Let the lasers do the job is what he's thinking, maybe? I don't know, that's kind of a weird... Oh, look! There he is! There's the last comm! Escape into the water. Let's see if these satellites notice. Now they're focused on taking out the SMD and all the goodness. Oh, maybe the nuke impacted the ASFs? No! I don't know what that was about. Because there's the nuke. Maybe the other nuke did that? I don't know. Anyway. There's the comm. Is he going to make it? Oh, he made it. And the satellites are trying to ground fire the comm. Look how deep that water goes. That water goes very deep. I think you can survive. If you're standing at the deepest point, I think you can survive a nuke. It'd be kind of interesting to test out. Answers in the comments if you can survive that. Look, they're ground firing the comm as well. Or at least where they were. You got more nukes, just nuking everything to oblivion. Goodbye. Takes out the reclaim from that failed Yolana Os. Another nuke out from Team 2. Man, what is that, like nuke 12 or something for the game? Looks like the comm of Williams sends out a building nuke. Probably going for spam. Yep, going for that spam. We have some torpedo bombers out from Rara as well, attacking the comm, trying to drive it out of the water. Yep, there it goes, taking out some artillery. He's fighting to the last. Like, he's making the last stand. He's going out in a blaze of glory. He's doing what you should be doing. Not quitting close to the end because you don't like the outcome. See, he's out of the water. He's vulnerable. Those torpedoes, oh, they don't end up taking him out. Oh, space lasers and sats. He's like, no, no, going the other way. Nope, made a mistake, and he's gone. Well, that is the end of the match with Team 2 winning. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all the support and love that I've been getting from all of you, and I will see you all in the next one.